Hi everyone, it's Desiree, and I am very excited to be here today as a guest designer for Spellbinders. I was very honored when I was asked if I would be a guest designer. So, of course, yes! So what I'm going to show you, of course, is the Glimmer system. We're going to work through that. This is everything that you get when you order your Glimmer system. But what I'm actually going to showcase are the Glimmer Hot Foil plates by Becca Feakin for Amazing Paper Grace, or with Amazing Paper Grace. They are absolutely beautiful. So they are going to work very well with this system. So of course, this system, when you purchase it, you get everything that you need to get started right away so that you can start foiling your world. There are many plates now, foil plates, that are available for this system. They are really expanding this quickly, which is terrific. So I'm not going to go through all the details on how the system works. I do have other videos where I did that, and I will make sure that I put a little tiny card in the top there so that you can view those and rewatch those just to learn a few more things about the system. These are the plates that are part of the collection that I'm going to showcase. It's foil flowers, elegant circle, and elegant occasion sentiments. But these flowers are great. Now, what I love about, I love them all, let's be honest. But for the foil flowers and the sentiments, not only do you get the plate, but you also get the die to cut around it, to cut out the image, which for me is awesome. I love this system. I do use it in my card making, especially with some cards that I make for some of my friends. But I'm still learning through it, but it is very easy to learn. So this is the die that actually comes when you purchase the system. So again, you can get started. The beautiful thing with the pad that I'm setting the die on is it's got a grid. So I'm using that to my advantage with my piece of cardstock as well. When you turn it on, that's the top light. Once your plate is ready to receive the foil plate, the second light will go green. Once you place that on there, you're going to hit your timer. And when that is solid, the magic begins. I like to cut my piece of foil close to the size of my plate. I find I get less shadowing and hazing. You want to make sure that when you set your foil down onto the plate, the foil shiny side down. It's kind of the opposite of what we're used to. Place your cardstock next, your thin shim, and then I like to use the next shim, the acrylic shim. They call it the spacer pad. Now, I usually, when I pull that out of the system, I'll show you another trick. I totally forgot. I tend, if I keep all those layers on when I go to pull it out, I move it. It doesn't move, but I do. I do have the Platinum 6 machine that I run all of those layers through. You need nothing else to run through your Platinum 6 machine. Once you're done, you just peel away the layers and look at the beautiful image that you get foiled. Now, I'm a little bit off. I'm not centered, but that's okay. I'm going to trim that. I always leave myself room for boo-boos or happy accidents because we got to think ahead. What also comes when you get your Glimmer system is a silicone mat and those awesome tweezers that are magnetized. Yay. So this way you're able to take your plates off of the hot pad. Now, this hot pad, you can touch it. You will not get scalding burning right away, but it's not something that you want to set your hands onto. You can see my plate is ready by the second light that's lit in green, and now I'm just taking my dies. I'm using the flower dies, and I'm just cutting my foil to around the same shape as those. Again, I'm just cutting close to the edge. It doesn't have to be perfect. Now that I'm ready and I have my pieces of foil ready, I'm going to place the plates onto my hot pad. And I want to make sure that there is some space. I almost got a little bit close here, but I was still okay. And once my pieces are set, I'm going to push on the timer and that button is going to flash. Once that light goes solid, that's when the system is ready for you to put your foils on first, shiny side down. Now here's where I pull the pad out first. So now I don't have to worry about anything shifting. I'm going to set my foils shiny side down first. I'm going to keep saying that. You're going to have nightmares with what I'm saying here. And then I'm going to put my cardstock on top of that. And what's great is I find as I'm putting these pieces down, because of the heat, they kind of like adhere. Not it's that they don't stick, but it feels like that. It's almost like a suction cup. I'm going to put my thin shim, which is the cloudy one, and then I'm going to put the spacer pad down, which is the clear acrylic. And all of those pieces that are in my hand go through my Platinum 6 machine. I truly do own it. It's just very tough for me to show in this area that I'm filming in. So I do apologize, but I know in the other video I did show it. So just keep that in mind. That is what I'm using for this. Once I have it pulled out, I just put it down into the docking station. I peel off all of my layers, set everything aside, and then I nicely peel the gold off, which is beautiful. It's like watching embossing powder melt. Yes, I like this one more though. I just have to admit it. I just think it's beautiful just to see that color stay behind. So now I'm going to make sure I take my pad. I'm going to snap it back. And it's not a hard snap, and it's not difficult to pull out either. But I am going to set that back in. It starts heating up once you connect back in. I'm going to wait for my second light to go fully green. I'm going to place my foil shiny side down, my cardstock on top of that. I'm going, now even at this point, before I put my plates is when I like to make sure that I'm pulling that plate out so that it's dislodged, so that I'm just picking it up, riding it through my die cutting machine so that I can reveal the beautiful image that comes about. Now, when I run it through my die machine, again, it is the Platinum 6. I own both of them. Yes. Santa was very good to me this year. Got me the big one. Yay! I love it. Anyway, I run it through slowly. I don't like to go back and forth, but when I put it through, I like to go slowly. I like to let that heat have time to press under those bars. It's just me. It's not what you have to do, but I just like to do it that way. So I got through all of my foiling, and I included the sentiment, and I used the sentiment from the Elegant Occasion sentiment set that says happy birthday, and that font is just gorgeous. So for the first project, or technically this is the second project, the first one that I did, I'm going to set those pieces aside, and I'm going to continue to work on my first project that I have. Yeah, I kind of did this backwards. Just to get, again, I want to do all of the foiling first. So I chose another sentiment from that same set, and this one just simply says thank you. These fonts are gorgeous. They're elegant. They're kind of in that brushstroke feel to it, but they do have the sense of elegance to them with the scrolls and the swirls and all of that. And that's something that I do like. There are many sentiments in that set. Happy anniversary, congratulations, happy birthday. And there's about, I think there's 6 in total, 5 or 6 in total. So what I'm going to do here, again, I've cut my piece of cardstock. I'm actually going to use the black foil for this. Once I know that it's ready, I'm going to pull that out. I have my piece of foil down, and I have my piece of cardstock. Now this is cut 6 by 6 because I am truly going to use the grid, and I'm going to show you a way to just have a 1-layer card, but using the grid and how you can position things, if that makes sense. So my goal here was to get the thank you in the center, or close to the center as I could. And I did a pretty good job. I was pretty impressed. And it's straight. Haha. Yeah, it's a happy day. There's that thumbs up. Yes. So I'm going to get this heat going again. And that the piece that you see on my table there, that's the center part of the elegant circle. There's actually two pieces there. So I really loved the center one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to place the plate onto my cardstock. Now remember, think reverse. You want the plate facing towards the cardstock because that's how it sits. You want to set your plate down, knowing and guiding using those grids on where your cardstock is going to be. All right, so I know my cardstock is going to go down in that corner. So I already have my foils cut. I'm going to use rose gold, silver, and copper for the swirls. Now that I'm ready, I've set my foil down. I've pulled out my plate. I'm going to set down my cardstock. My thin shim is coming in next. The spacer plate is coming in next. Now, yes, the cardstock is sticking out a little bit, but that's okay. I just made sure all of this was to the left in my Spellbinders machine. Nothing got bent. I now have a beautiful image. And what I love the most is it crossed over the Y. And it's okay. It can do that. It doesn't ruin anything. So I wanted to show you that too. You can cross over in your foils. I'm going to do the same thing. Make sure the plate is facing towards the cardstock because that's how you want it against the cardstock. Set your piece down using that cardstock because that's where you're going to have that piece set. Let it stay on your plate that way. I'm going to put my foil down. I'm going to make sure I pull my plate out. Now you can do that before too, because I get carried away. So I'm making it look worse, but you do have to have some force to pull that out. I'm going to set my cardstock down, my thin shim, my spacer plate, run it through my machine. Remember, you need nothing else for your machine. No other plates, no other nothing. It's just what I'm showing on here that's going through the machine. And here's the silver. So I set the silver up just a little bit more. It's just barely touching the H and the T. It may shift as you put it down, but that's okay because remember, you can't tape it. So you just want to eyeball it. Again, remember what our statement is going to be, what our phrase is this year. Let it go. Let it go. It's okay. These, what some may call boo-boos, I think are beautiful. So we're going to keep on doing it. Same thing. We're going to put that plate in the proper position on our cardstock. Set our cardstock down onto our pad. Once it's ready, we're going to set our foil. We're going to make sure the plate is pulled and set. We're going to set our layers. And we're going to now remove those layers after it comes out of our machine. We're going to pull away. This color is copper. And when we pull that away, we have an absolutely beautiful image. And again, when I run it through the die machine, I go slowly. I make sure it's constantly moving. I don't want to stop, but I am going slowly than what I would to die cut a regular piece. So now we've done all of our foiling. So now let's put our cards together. I used one of the rectangles from the Hem Stitch rectangle set by Spellbinders to cut out my wonderful foiled swirls. Now I'm going to use the dies that come with the sentiment, the happy birthday, and also my flowers. So now I'm just going to set all of these in. I'm going to use my Post-it tape. To me, that is my favorite when I run things through my die cutting machine. And I'm going to set all of this up so I can die cut everything all at once. I did choose two colors of cardstock for my flowers, a deep burgundy and a bright deep fuchsia. And then I chose a deep yellow for some of the centers because we're going to do some layering with these items. So beautiful, lots of gold going on our birthday card. Now, once these are set and I run them through my machine, we will have all of those layers. Now, the one thing that I didn't do from the foil flower set is they do have leaves. But they didn't have, they didn't have that separate die, and I really wanted to use that oval frame that came with the system itself. I loved it. I hadn't played with it yet, and I wanted to play with it. So it does have the leaves, but they would go directly down onto your cardstock, and you would still be able to build the flowers like I'm about to do. So we improvise, and I'll show you what we did. I'm quick using dry adhesive to put my panel down on my standard A2 size card base, which is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and in this case it is now a side folding standard A2 size card. I'm just going to trim this panel up just a little bit, just a smidge, just to make it even, because my eyes were really focusing on that and it was making me crazy. There are some things that will make us nuts that we can't let go, but they're easy to do. It does not mean we throw out the card. We just trim. That's how we fix that. Again, I'm going to use my dry adhesive and I'm going to put that down. This is also a standard A2 size card base, which is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And again, it is a side folding. Now I'm just going to play with my placement. I love doing this, just playing around, placing them. I'm loving all of this gold that I am seeing, and I'm able to layer. If you've watched any of my previous videos, you know I love to layer, I love dimension, I love texture. I could make a card, even though it's 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, I could make it 6 inches high. I just love adding that texture. It would be difficult to ship or mail, yes, but I still enjoy it. So, but we didn't have those leaves, and that's okay. I just grabbed some green cardstock and cut them myself. Cut half of an oval, add the point, cut the other half, and that's all I did. They're going to be a beautiful addition. I don't want to take away from the gold. So having just plain green cardstock to be for my leaves with no veins, no nothing, I'm okay with that. I kind of like it. It actually helps the flowers to pop up. So I adhered the first 2 flowers directly down. It will adhere to glue or to gold foil, sorry, my liquid adhesive. And now I'm going to use some double-sided foam tape to pop this one flower up over those 2 smaller ones. What I'm then going to do is with the one that's at the top, I want to layer it. So I have the base. I'm going to grab my foam pad, and I have one of those tools with the metal ball at the end. I'm breaking the fibers here, so I just want to keep on moving in a circular motion so that this flower bends up. Now, what happens if you don't have that tool that I just had? Use anything that's got a rounded edge. Could be a pen, could be a marker. If it's got a rounded end at the top, you can use anything you want. So yes, I'm going to layer that. I'm going to use a piece of double-sided foam onto the center flower. So now I've got a really nice textured and dimensional flower up in the corner. And I love the way that looks layered. Why did I do that? Well, 1, I wanted to, but 2, really, I forgot to cut a third center, a yellow center. So there you go. I fixed it. And I like it even more. Those green leaves I just tucked in, and I made sure the ends were curled again, just to have that dimension and texture continuing on throughout. I'm looking at where I want to place my happy birthday. I like the fact that I foiled it onto white cardstock, where it kind of blends into the background. At the same time, it doesn't. I'm going to prop that up, continuing to use my foam squares so that it'll straddle right across the flowers. Now, I could have had the flowers come over it, but I really wanted that font to shine through. So those are our 2 cards using the Spellbinders Glimmer Hot Foil System and the new plates, the new hot foil plates by Becca Feakin for amazing paper grace. I do hope you'll check this out, and please make sure you go to the Spellbinders blog to see all of the wonderful creations and inspiration that's available there by their wonderful design team. I hope everyone is having a great day, And always remember what's most important for me. Always be creative.